Oh, all this in here I'm keeping, and everything here and others is going to be for sale. And these are already listed various places. So let's take a look at each one of them now. Okay, straight from Japan, this is the Japanese edition of Mastermind's Excelsior. And on the Japanese edition, you have an extra unreleased track on the American edition called Excelsior, which is the title track. I have this in the original American release. I forget what label it's on, but pretty much bought this for myself to have a copy. Now, here's a band, LU7. This is their release, Azurite Dance. The Chinese guitarist, or Japanese guitarist, not sure. He plays a lot like Holdsworth and has some very striking soaring leads up against the lady on keyboards. Really hot stuff. It's another release of theirs called 3395. Again, some really hot, interesting Asian fusion. And this is their, I'll have to flip this over and read it, L'Esprit de l'Exil Revisité. So they had an earlier release, and this is their release revisited of that same release. Corrado Restici released an interesting album called Interfulgent, and when I listened to it, it was really good, so I thought I'd grab it up. It was cheaper to buy in Japan and import it than anywhere else. Those of you who don't recognize the name Corrado Restici, he played with the amazing jazz rock fusion band Nova from the 70s. I bought this for myself, sealed with the OBX strip. This is Brandek's Missing Period. My copy is up for sale. And here's another LU7 release called Bonito. Everywhere I looked online except Japan, Return to Forever Together Again in Japan Live 1985. The Japanese copies were much more inexpensive. I don't know if you can hear the music in the background, but it's my version of Captain Beyond's Sweet Dreams. And this is an album I used to have. This is a tribute release called 1,000 Days of Yesterday. And it's really quite good, except for one track by the Flower Kings. And on the Sweet Dreams version, the actual vocalist from the original song sings on this version. So I'm glad to have this back in my collection again. Here's Allan Holdsworth original IOU Live. This is a 2 CD release. And this just came in, Guitar on the Edge, Volume 1, Number 2, Shred meets Fusion. I bought another one of these Guitar on the Edge releases, you'll see it later, and I found it kind of boring, except for a couple tracks, so it's up for sale. Those of you who are shred happy, you might like it. But this is just some of the artists that are on here. Sometimes on these Guitar on the Edge releases, you get music that hasn't been released anywhere else, at least not in the version that you find here. And Return to Forever Electric Studio, NYC, June 1975. I went ahead and remastered this music because on the CD it's not as good as I think as my own remastered version, and some really nice playing on here by the guys. Here's a curious collection, Legendary Shred Guitar Kingdom. The faster side. And who have we got on here? First guy I don't recognize. Gambale, McAlpine, Greg Howe, Iseki Noro, Sean Lane, Carl Verheyen, Coriel Holdsworth, Sean Lane again, Michael Landau, Brett Garsed, and a lot of Asian guitarists. Thought that would be an interesting listen. If it's not, you know what I do. It goes up for sale. Somebody else might enjoy it more than me. And here is Star Festival, Jeff Beck with Stanley Clark. It is a 2 CD release. Anthony Hymas on keyboards, Simon Phillips on drums. Killer drummer. And here's another 2 CD to release, Jeff Beck with the Jan Hammer Group. Freeway Jammin' with Jan. So there we go. And I was on a Captain Beyond kick, it's obvious. This is the Bickershaw Festival 1972. Tracks from that. Captain Beyond, when they came out with their self-titled release back in the 70s, they were so tight, they were so raw, they were so hard, and had so many time changes and synchronized bass and guitar. It just was amazing. Their stuff was so cool. And they used scales like on Dancing Madly Backwards, whole tone scales that were just awesome. I never heard anything like it. And ever since they came out, it's just been a pleasure listening to them over and over and over again. If you don't know about Captain Beyond, get hip. Look them up, turn it on, crank it up. And last thing I bought for myself that was in Japan is a Steve Morse Band live in Baden-Baden, Germany, March 1990. That should be fun. Okay, that's the Japan lot. This I may have talked about in a former video, but it's worthwhile. This is Mastermind Live. Prog Fusion Metal, Leather, and Sweat. The name of this album was from an article that I wrote about the live show. Bill asked me if he could lift it, and I said, go ahead, man, it's cool. Believe it or not, my name is in the thanks to. Always love those kind of little things. All right, what else? Oh my goodness, more Jeff Beck. Jeff Beck with Stanley Clark, first Tokyo Live. And I do believe this is a 2 CD release. It is. Bloomfield, Koichi Yabori, the amazing guitarist from Fragile, a jazz rock fusion king from Asia. Stumbled on this on Bandcamp. This is called Semantic Saturation Paradigms. And I asked the guitarist to please sign it for me. And he ripped the cover. And there it is, signed. His name is Shant Hagopian. And good old Derek Sharonian guests. Some of you may have heard before that my favorite releases by PFM were Jet Lag and Chocolate Kings. Well, I bought a box set of all of it. That includes The World Became the World and Photos of Ghost. Got this on Amazon. Discovered it in Japan during my shopping, and I thought, that's cool. But they are prog rock and then fusion. Oh, Jeff Beck again. Jeez, I can't read stuff anymore. Such weird writing. Okay, here we go. Jeff Beck, May 10th, 1975, Riverside Theater, Milwaukee. There you go. And those of you who watch my channel know I really dig Steve Hillage. I actually covered a song by him. Oh gosh. Anyway, I talked to Steve. He said, yeah, man, that's cool. Go ahead and you can release it. No copyright problems. But Hillage is just an incredibly good guitar. So this is him with the guitars. This is him with a gong. This is volume 2. Whatever the heck that means. It's basically saying, hey, this is a live release from 1975. And tooling around on the internet, I stumbled on a website where the guy was the only person that had a release called Steve Hillage Ether Ships. It's live 2019, I think, 2014. But anyhow, 2 CD release. As you can see, Steve is a little bit older now. And those of you who know my channel know I'm into classical music as well. And every so often I'll hear a piece. Like this time I was listening to the radio and I heard Stravinsky's Petrushka. So I did some research, and like I like to do, I said, what is the very best recording conductor of this piece? And it was Otto Klemperer's version, and I snapped it up. Okay, moving right along. A few weeks ago, I contacted Elowood Durad and his project. He's got Marco Miniman playing on drums here. And this is his release, True Stories. I'm going to do some promo videos for him to promote this release. And he was nice enough to ship both of his albums from Europe. The Netherlands, Denmark, Belgium, not quite sure where he's from. But this was his first EP release called The Cross. And if you like Allan Holdsworth's style of playing, Elowood has really got it down pat. And let's see, in fact, who do you think he dedicated track 6 to? Yeah, Holdsworth. So anyhow, you can find these on the internet. Go ahead. They're worth it. You're going to pay a little bit to get them shipped to you from Europe. Unless you already live in Europe, then it's cheap. But for me, in the U.S., it wasn't so cheap. All right, what else did I get for myself? Any of y'all remember the very noir science fiction movie called Dark City? Well, I stumbled across a deluxe box set release of this movie. Blu-ray, director's cut, and another CD in here, probably the original cut. But for those of you who thought The Matrix was so amazing about virtual world and what we see is not what's real, this movie, Dark City, was all about that. I think it really laid the groundwork for The Matrix. And don't bother looking for it on Amazon because I bought the last copy. Unless they have another one put up. We shall see. All right, now let's take a look at what is for sale. Okay, here is what's for sale, and I will put all the links down below. Look in the notes section of the video where it says more. Open that up on YouTube and you will see all the hyperlinks to all the stuff that's for sale. Here's the Guitar on the Edge release, Volume 1, Number 2, that I didn't find all that superbly interesting, and I went ahead and put it up for sale. Okay, here is Corrado Restisi's release called Deconstruction of a Postmodern Musician. This came in from Japan, and I was so blown away. This thing is autographed. Steve Smith, the drummer that was with him in the Corrado Restisi trio when they toured, that was the drummer, and then Peter Fettes was the keyboardist. Now this signature here, this third person, no clue who it is, but I'm guessing it may be Corrado Restisi himself. And it comes with the OBI strip, and there are your signatures. This is quite the collector's item, in my humble opinion. And here's another copy of it with the OBI strip. OBX, geez. Here's a new sealed import from Japan, Bill Connors, the Step It. There you go. And here's the other copy of Mastermind Excelsior from Japan, near mint with an extra track for sale. And I bought another of the Return to Forever Electric Ladies Studio NYC June 1975. New, sealed, imported from Japan. Here is Gong Live Gazoos. It is mint. Now, there was a guy that contacted me, I don't know, 2, 3, 4 months ago, who said, if you have any Gong live with Holdsworth, please let me know. And unfortunately, I told him, yeah, I got a lot of it, but they're my copies. I don't have any for sale. Well, now I have some that are available for sale with Holdsworth and whatnot. Yeah, here's the band members right here. So I'm going to list this. I can't list this on eBay or Amazon or Discogs because, you know, it's one of those gray area recordings, but I will have it on my Shopify website, remastered live jazz fusion. You'll see a link to it. And here's one that everybody wants so bad. It's so rare. But this is Brett Garsed and TJ Helmerich's Quid Pro Quo. It is near mint, but the CD booklet itself, I'm not going to take this all apart to show it, but there's a few tab intents. You know, the plastic case has got these tabs, and sometimes people don't put the liner in correctly, and they slam it closed, and it causes indentations. Maybe you can see it there. I don't know. It's not a big deal, but I've actually had people return CDs because of tab intents. real scruples people they have. Bought a lot of Chad Wackerman Scream. You'll see all these listed. They're all near mint. Bought some more Fragile. This is Fragile Zon, near mint. Bought some more Fragile. This is Fragile's Poison Quells Poison, near mint with the OBI strip. Oh, we have The Sun and the Melodies by Fragile. Rare stuff, mint condition. No OBI strip, but to me it's not a big deal. Now, I'll get to this one in a minute. Here's Fragile's Phantom. It is near mint. Now there's, I have never seen an OBI strip with these. I'm sure they exist, but I've never come across it. Now this one is mint. I'm not going to open it up. I say that it's autographed because there's some writing that could be Japanese and I just can't read it. And then under the writing was a numbered and a date, numbered with a date. So if you look at this one on eBay, you'll be able to see what I'm talking about. It could be Yabori's signature, it could be the bass player or the drummer's signature. Sadly, the drummer for Fragile has passed away. But those of you who can read cursive Japanese writing, you might be able to say, hey, that's Yabori. Okay. And like I showed you earlier, the LU7 Esprit d'Exil Revisité, I bought an extra copy to put up for sale. It's in mint condition, and it's got the OBI strip. So, as always, I've got more irons in the fire, and I've got more CDs on the way. I would say be here in the next week or two. But let's take a look at what I have purchased and has already been shipped to the USA. Okay, I bought a Gong DVD live recording of them as well. Kind of a historical record, to speak. And we will see how that is when it gets here. Now, how about what else did I get? And related to Gong is good old Tim Blake and the Crystal Machine. This is his piece, Steve Blake's New Jerusalem. One of the finest set of electronic drone type recordings I have ever heard. I can't tell you how many ripped and out there nights I went to sleep listening to this stuff. Just so trippy. And let's see what else. Here's Gong, Guilford, 1975. And right there in front is my favorite guitarist, one of my favorites, Steve Hillage. Man, he could tear a Stratocaster up. All right, what else do we have? Bunny Brunel's Momentum. Really hot stuff on there. Oh, I bought another Chad Wackerman Scream because, why? They sell. And here's Riptide, Sonic Undertow. Very rare release with Allan Holdsworth guesting. And then UK's Night After Night Extended. Multiple CDs in that one there. Brett Garsed, Big Sky. That's going to be for sale. I bought one new recently from Japan, sealed with the OBI strip. And now I don't have a picture on the website I bought it at because it's too darn small. But I bought, well, let me tip this up a little bit. National Health Live, featuring Bill Bruford and I believe Steve Hillage as well. National Health is Canterbury Rock. So let's look at what else I bought. Oop, never mind that page. All right, more Jeff Beck. Glory to the Future. More Jeff Beck. You know, Superstition. Jeff Beck Air Blower. These are all boots, you know. Jeff Beck, the definitive Tokyo 1980 tour. I checked this out on YouTube and found it to be wonderful, so I snapped it up. And I think here comes the last one. Yeah, I bought the Mark Barney Project's Truth in Shredding, and a very interesting Japanese version cover of Centrifugal Funk. Last one I put up for sale on YouTube, gone. So anyhow, that's what's on the way, and I will end this by saying I'm trying to get in touch with Captain Beyond's drummer Bobby Caldwell. I'm hoping to do something special with him in the near future. Keep you posted. So we'll finish the video with my cover of Dancing Madly Backward, Fading Out. Here's a small addendum. I forgot these guys. DVD, Live at Montreux, Dixie Dregs, 1978. Should be interesting. And then for sale, just listed these guys in the past few days. This is Allan Holdsworth and Alan Pasqua and Chad Wackerman and Jimmy Haslip. And these are quite rare and fairly good condition. I checked them all. They all play great. So they're pretty much, I think, the same barcode and same maker. The cover looked a little different to me. This is a little different. Yeah, this is Altitude Digital 207. And this is MVD Entertainment Group. I don't know what the deal is on that, but no barcode on this one. But they're the same thing. Same great concert. This is well worth the money. I bought these for resale, as I already have a copy. And every time I list these on eBay, they do not last very long. I think the only copies on eBay now is one for like $105 because everybody signed his DVD. All right, now I'm signing off. Ciao again.